Welcome back to another edition of our Big 12 Power Rankings, officially on to Week 6. Eric, some of the bigger teams had some bye weeks, but there was still some shakeup this week in the Big 12. This is 2 weeks removed for your power rankings. So go ahead, give it a quick little explanation before we actually get to your ranking.
This is a disclaimer, so I missed last week's power rankings. So all of my movement is taking into account the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
So when there's certain teams that did not have a good week this week, but if they had a good week the week before, they might have moved up a little bit just because things are evening out in other movement. So leave me alone. Okay. Let's get to my rankings.
Turn up the heat. What do you got, Eric?
Rankings. Okay, coming in at 1, it's Iowa State, moving up 2 from 2 weeks ago. BYU staying steady from where they had them 2 weeks ago. Some are saying I'm the BYU, what is it? The Oracle. I'm just predicting. I know where they're going to be. BYU staying at 2. Utah dropping down to 3. That's 2 spot drop from 2 weeks ago. Kansas State goes up 1 to 4. Texas Tech goes up 2 to 5. Arizona State goes up 3 to 6. Colorado up 1 to 7. West Virginia up 4 to 8. Arizona up 1 to 9. If I did these last week, they would have gone up, and I did it the week before, they would have dropped significantly. Yeah. So this is the total. That's how we end up here, right? UCF, they dropped 4. They've lost multiple in a row. Oklahoma State have dropped 7. They have dropped a ton, of course, due to injuries as well. Cincinnati down to 12. Houston up to 13. Baylor to 14 down. Kansas stays put at 15. TCU drops to the bottom spot at 16.
So a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Cincinnati didn't play this past week.
Yeah.
The week before it was 3-point loss.
To Tech.
Mm-hmm. Tech just beat Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious as to why you have them below the Wildcats at this point.
When I get really close, like I think Arizona, UCF, Oklahoma State, Cincy, those were all really close. I do kind of base it off of who do I think is a better team overall. And as of right now, I think Arizona slightly edges that out. I think Oklahoma State and UCF, I think they're all better teams than Cincinnati. So that's my tiebreaker. But that like 9 through 12 could all be flipped pretty easily. So that's what I'm going at. Plus in Arizona, I'm taking into account that they beat Utah on the road. And I understand that they didn't have Cam Rising, but they still beat Utah on the road, right? So that's how all of that stands for me.
Was just curious. Was just curious. Just had some questions,
It's okay. Sometimes you drop and you move around, not based off of what you do, but more based off of what other teams.
That's fair. That's
do.
fair.
And that's where Cincinnati falls.
A lot of teams didn't play this past week. Let's go ahead. Let's get to my Week 6 power rankings. Keeping Iowa State atop the conference, still at number 1. BYU stays put at 2. Kansas State at 3. Utah at 4. Interested to see what those teams do this week. Tech moves up 3 spots to number 5. An impressive victory over Arizona. If you go back, look at the box score there. There is zero reason why Texas Tech should have won that game, but they found a way to get it done. Tahj Brooks also fumbled twice in that game.
Has that ever happened before?
I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think he's ever fumbled twice in a game, and they still won. Colorado moves down 1 spot. They didn't play this past week. Arizona State up 2 spots to number 7. Big 12 newcomer of the week, Sam Levitt, co-offensive player in the Big 12 this week. Also, Cam Skattebo. Have a day. Interesting matchup between 7 and 4 in my power rankings this weekend. West Virginia, they move up 3 spots to number 8. Was kind of impressed as to hanging 38 points. 38 points on Oklahoma State, and their quarterback only completed 9 passes. Not sure if that's West Virginia being good or Oklahoma State being really, really bad.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, that's fair. Arizona at 9. They dropped 3 spots after choking away the game to Tech. Brent Brennan, you are not the guy. Just saying. Cincinnati up 4 spots to 10. Oklahoma State drops 4 spots to 11. Again, Oklahoma State now sits at 3-3 and 0-3 in the Big 12. It feels like their Big 12 title hopes are completely gone at this point. UCF down 2 spots to number 12. Baylor stays put at 13. I know they lost to Iowa State, but I have Iowa State as my top team in this conference. So Baylor, sucks to be you. If you get it, you get it. Houston up 2 spots to number 14. Congratulations. You are no longer the loser in this conference, at least not the biggest one. TCU down 3 spots to 15. Where is that fan base? Where are the Horned Frogs? Get in here. Get in the comments, because all I've been hearing is about how I've been sleeping on you guys. I don't know if I've been sleeping hard enough on you guys, to be honest with you. One of the worst teams in this conference, Kansas, still haven't beaten an FBS team. down to 16, worst team in this conference. Eric, for you, which team has been the biggest disappointment this season? Oklahoma State, Arizona, or Kansas?
I think it has to be Kansas just because they are so far below what we thought that they would be. I was more, tepid on Arizona than Arizona fans were. I know we get caught up in that a lot, but I think overall not as many people were, as high, I guess, as some Wildcats fans were. I think Kansas and Arizona were in similar categories going into the season, and one of them is 1-5. Oklahoma State's been really disappointing as well. Ollie Gordon, of course, injured, but overall has been extremely disappointing too. I think those three are perfect picks. I think Kansas is clearly at the bottom, and I think you can argue between Oklahoma State and Arizona. What about you?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Kansas has been a pretty disappointing team. I think the only thing that's going to push me in a different direction for the most disappointing team up to this point in the season is the fact that Kansas, yes, they always had the talent, but it was still, we're going to wait and see if they can put it together type of deal.
Everybody just thought that
Everybody
was
just
going to work.
thought, yeah.
They were ranked going into the season. They were ranked.
Absolutely. I think for Oklahoma State, though, to have a coach in Mike Gundy who's been there as long as he has, to have a preseason Heisman candidate in Ollie Gordon, and to play in Stillwater, which is a tough place to play in this conference. They've been in this conference. And again, 3-3, 0-3 in conference play. It just hasn't been a strong 6 games for Oklahoma State, guys. But hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to PHNX Sports, and also head to the comments. Let us know who the biggest disappointment at this point in the season is, and we will see you guys next week for another edition of our Big 12 Power Rankings.
We all silly like the mayor.